listening to Downworlder Dish, a Shadowhunters Chronicles podcast. Hello, everyone. Say hi, bitches.
Hi.
Welcome to episode 21, where we will be jumping straight into City of Ashes and discussing the prologue, Smoke and Diamonds, and chapter 1, Valentine's Arrow. I'm Kristen.
I'm Robin.
And I'm Amanda.
So, no recap this episode, obviously, because if you're starting with the first episode for City of Ashes, you've already read City of Bones. And if you haven't, shame on you. Do it.
We spent a whole episode wrapping up and recapping, right. So we're good.
Last week's episode was the recap.
Always wanted an entire hour dedicated to me.
Yes. And we had so much fun.
Robin, we're just going to make you read everything the next one. The whole hour will be yours.
Yeah.
That would be very, very boring and bad for people's eardrums.
Oh, shoot.
There were a couple times when I was editing today, I had to drop dead because it was so loud.
Spiking.
It was all just a solid bar.
We went through the first probably 7 episodes. I'm like a mouse. I'm like,
right.
Yeah,
and
you
then
were
I
very
figured out
quiet.
how to turn the volume up on the actual microphone.
Thank you, Kristen.
And
it was by accident.
Here I am. I just want you to know before we go any further, the part in this are it's a Google Doc that we share anyway. I'm sure we've talked about it, where it says "Say hi, bitches." We had to put that in our first ever episode because we kept not saying hi.
Oh yeah.
We would just stare at Kristen like, okay, so what do we do
now? What?
We've got it on lock now.
Yep.
We're 20 episodes deep. We got this.
I almost changed the doc to say episode 1, and I don't know why, just because it was the first chapter. That is very wrong.
All right, so let's get into this. We open in a swanky New York high-rise penthouse, all shining marble and nightmare-inducing, nearly invisible floor-to-ceiling windows, because no.
Scary.
So much no.
I have been in a house in the west side, the West Hills, that was like that. It was so creepy.
I don't like it. I can't, I can't do, the observation deck at the Space Needle. No, it's not okay. It's not okay. I don't like it. Because you never know when Harry Potter's going to come and disappear that fucking glass and you're going to fall to your death.
Nerd.
Sounds like something Dobby would do.
Right? He's trying to protect you. He's like an abusive boyfriend.
Wait, Dobby the
I
elf?
only did it because I love you. Yeah.
Okay, I don't think you should blame anything on him. He seems very innocent.
He's misguided.
Yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
His heart's in the right place.
Yeah, he's a sweet pea. You leave him alone. Leave Brittany alone.
Oh, God. So inside this marvel of steel and glass is a taciturn man with white hair and an unpleasant disposition. Cough. Valentine. Cough.
Right. It's very suspenseful figuring out who it was.
Right?
Okay, I knew who it was, but when they said white hair, I was questioning because how does he already have white hair? He's 36.
He's always had white blonde hair.
Oh,
It's
white blonde. Okay, okay.
It's like
but
Children of the Corn hair.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Creepy white.
Okay.
And he has dark eyes.
How I wish my hair would stay toned blonde.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to know what brand of purple shampoo he's using. Hook a sister up.
So he's impatiently waiting for a young warlock boy named Elias to finish drawing a pentagram on the marble floor for your run-of-the-mill demon raising. The young warlock finishes the pentagram and begins summoning Agramon. Not to be confused with Abaddon. Would it be too much to ask for an easily distinguishable demon name?
Yep. I had to reread it. I was like, okay, wait. Nope, not the same. Okay, good. Moving on.
Right. So I'm going to read this excerpt. Elias got to his feet and shrugged off his jacket. And nope, that's not what it says, Kristen. Elias got to his feet and shrugged his jacket off. Despite the holes he'd cut in it, it still compressed his wings uncomfortably. Freed, they stretched and expanded themselves, wafting a breeze through the unventilated room. His wings were the color of an oil slick, black threaded with a rainbow of dizzying colors. The man looked away from him, as if the wings displeased him, but Elias didn't seem to notice. He began circling the pentagram he'd drawn, circling it counterclockwise and chanting a demon language that sounded like the crackle of flames.
I'm done. I'm dead. I died.
My God. We are children.
Deceased. Okay. The lines Elias had drawn on the floor burst into flames, and he continued to chant as a smoky mist begins to solidify in the center of the pentagram, the tendrils of smoke growing larger, solidifying. I said solidifying twice, but I'm sorry. And two eyes appear in the shapeless blob. All I can think of when I read this was that Doctor Who episode with like the stretched skin, and it was just like eyes and a mouth. Do you remember? And they're like misting her.
Yeah, she's the last human. Her name's Cassandra.
Oh
Yes.
my gosh.
Moisturize me.
First of all, it's creepy enough that I know about this because Robin's told me. I've never seen any of this. But that is super weird.
Moisturize me. She's also in Harry Potter.
What?
The actress. It's Madame
the
Hooch.
actress. I was like, not the skin sheet.
No, it's Madame Hooch.
Hooch.
Her name is Cassandra.
No way.
Yeah.
So the way that she describes his wings, I always loved. I loved it so much. I was like, oh, that is the best warlock mark ever.
Okay, I have a question about the wings. I'm glad you brought it up. So I imagine that they are like huge.
I think they're pretty decent. Like, I don't know about that big, but pretty decent size.
It just sounds like it would be very difficult to take a jacket off of them. Okay, got it off my arm. Now I got to get it off this wing somehow. And then
But they're soft. They're not like angel wings, like with feathers.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
They're like fairy wings that are like gossamer almost.
Oh.
Like very thin.
That does make a difference. Okay, got it.
Okay.
I was thinking of that movie
like
with
a
John
butterfly.
Travolta.
That's what I meant. Like a butterfly.
Okay.
He has magic, so maybe he just magics it off. I was just thinking about him cutting a hole in it, and I was like, wouldn't that like run the threads? But he probably magicked a hole into it.
It's
And
a
it's
jean
leather.
jacket.
Oh, it's jean. I thought it was leather. Okay.
Yeah.
I imagine him looking like Rufio, by the way.
Roofy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. With like dark hair and yeah.
The jacket, yeah.
Awesome.
Because it's a vest in my mind. It's not a jacket.
Well, of course it is. It can't have sleeves because that's not cool.
2/4
No,
of
it's
a
not.
jacket.
Yep.
Yeah. The
like
sign of a
2/4 of
cool
a
guy
jacket.
is that there's no sleeves on his jacket. Duh.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I sound really stupid there. I understand that 2/4 is 1/2. I just want to make it very clear. That's an inside joke.
I was trying to ask why vests were so expensive when it's only like 2/4 of a jacket.
And I was like, you mean 1/2? Like half a jacket?
I was trying to say 2/3.
It was great time.
Had to be there.
We've given up on staying on track.
Sorry.
This episode's going to be short, so you're fine.
Okay. So Agramon, what was that?
Okay.
Robin's being rude.
That's great.
Just hurting my feelers. So
I love you.
I love you more. Probably not.
This is so sweet.
It's all lies. So Agramon? Agri your mom.
Whatever he is.
This is absurd. What are we doing with our lives?
Your mom. Like your mom. I know you already made it, but I had to say it. Had to.
Okay. Agramon is none too pleased at being pulled from his home dimension by the young warlock. I'm going to read their little exchange because I like the visualization. For a moment there was silence. Then the demon laughed. If smoke can be said to laugh, the laugh itself was caustic as acid. Foolish warlock, Agramon wheezed. Oh, okay. Foolish warlock.
It's great.
Foolish warlock, Agramon wheezed.
You
Foolish
didn't bring
boy.
me my pack of Newports.
Jesus Christ.
Camels?
It's just all of our moms growing up.
Marlboros.
You
Yeah,
sounded
mom's was a
very
Marlboro.
emphysema-y there.
Uh-huh. He says wheezed, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, I'm gonna try it again with a voice, but hopefully it's better. Foolish warlock, Agramon wheezed. Foolish boy. You are the foolish one if you think you can threaten me, Elias said, but his voice was trembling like his wings. You will be prisoner of that pentagram, Agramon, until I release you. Will I? The smoke surged forward, forming and reforming itself. A tendril took the shape of a human hand and stroked the edge of the burning pentagram that contained it. I can't tell you how many times I wrote the word pentagram in this fucking recap.
Okay, could you imagine being this Argamon and just sitting there like watching TV, just like watching Wheel of Fortune, eating your popcorn, and then whoa, 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 when you get pulled into some hotel?
Like, what if he was in an important business meeting?
Leave him alone.
Right? He's like, I just like have to get pulled into another dimension.
Yeah.
It's rude. You're really fucking up my Saturday night.
Disrespectful.
Right.
He was pooping.
I don't even know if demons... I mean, I'm sure they do.
They have to, right? They have to get rid of waste in some way.
Right. They eat stuff, so...
Oh,
Like a human hand comes out.
It's like undigested, you mean?
Yeah, like when corn, you know?
It was a Forsaken.
Yep. They don't digest well.
No. It just goes straight through your system. Oh my gosh. So the smoke surged forward, extinguishing the flames as it rushed out of the pentagram like a wave of parents scrambling for the last Furby on Black Friday. Elias screamed and chanted more spells, trying to contain the furious demon, but it was no use. Realizing the danger, the warlock boy turned to run, but Agramon was too fast, too powerful. He engulfed the boy like a surge of boiling black tar. Is how it's... That is not an appropriate time to laugh, Robin.
Just thinking of the Surge, like, cola energy drink. I thought you were going to say something about that.
It's fuego, bitch.
He was doing, what was that? The blue tarantula and the rock star?
Oh, not a spider bite.
Spider bites.
Yes. I was like, not a Tic Tac. That's not what it was called.
Tic Tacs are not my jam.
Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
We used to.
Ugh.
But I do like the spider bite.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had that.
kind of
I do
delicious.
like tarantula, whatever that is.
It tastes like a pixie stick.
It's good.
Uh-huh. It's good. Anyway, sorry.
Okay. So when the smoke demon retreated, Elias was lying still, his body contorted on the floor. Valentine, utterly unmoved by the death of the child, was only concerned with whether or not the warlock's blood could still be used for his evil plan. Prick. Valentine knew that the pentagram wouldn't contain Agramon, but failed to give Elias that information. I kind of feel like this moment between Valentine and Agramon is like two villains tipping their hats to one another. Like, you're about as evil as I am. I appreciate you.
It's
like,
well played.
Yeah.
Well played.
It seems interesting, though. Sorry. That a warlock, like Valentine, would know more about these sorts of things than a warlock would.
He's a
But
child.
I think that's why
I guess that's true.
That's why he hired the boy, because no one else probably would,
Yeah.
because they would have that knowledge.
Good point. What a
So he was just using him
Jerk
because he
face.
couldn't summon him on his own.
Douche
Because
canoe.
because we do learn in this chapter that he can't speak the demon languages, which is why he needs a warlock, because he can't summon them without the demon languages.
Right. Okay. I didn't put that together. Thank you.
Yeah. And I did not put the name of the demon language in here because I can't pronounce it. Like all the other words in Cassandra Clare's books.
Yes.
So, not one to waste time, Valentine gets right to the point. He tells Agramon that since he holds the mortal cup, he's now the demon's master. And the demon replies with, "Yes, my lord," and waits for him to reveal his name. And he says, "You can call me Valentine." But we already fucking knew that.
You can call me V-Tang.
I don't, why,
Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, it's okay. I don't school me, because I'm having a moment. It's late, or I also don't know. Why does him having the mortal cup make him the demon's master? Tell me why.
Because whoever has the cup can control the demon.
The cup gives them that power.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Okay, whoever's like holding the cup, or it's just like
whoever has
known
possession
that
of
he
the
has
cup.
possession, so he doesn't have to actively be in his hands.
I don't know if it's on him or not, but I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Why would you?
It's
know
whoever
that?
has possession of, because then they can.
It's on a chain.
Flavin' it.
I won't stop with that joke.
He's wearing a clock. It's so funny.
Well, he was playing with something metal in his pocket, but we never get to see what it is. I'm assuming it's like a ring or something. Oh my gosh. So that was a pretty short prologue. However, I think it gave us a lot of information. We know that Valentine is up to something. We know he needs this child not a Shadowhunter, this warlock child's blood for some reason. And he needs this big bad demon, Agramon, who I'm assuming is a greater demon because I just don't see a lesser demon being able to get through a pentagram like that. But
Surprising that he was able to summon a greater demon.
Right.
But
Okay, so is he actually there, or is this like Abaddon where he was not actually there?
I don't think it's his physical form. I think it's the same thing where it's his, what is it? Not corporeal. Incorporeal form.
Okay.
I can't pronounce that word because I've never said it out loud. I could spell it.
it's his hologram.
Yes. Okay, got it. Well, it's interesting to see where Valentine's going to take it next and how he's going to accomplish that. Obviously, he doesn't have anyone on his side anymore. So,
well,
everybody died.
Know. I know, but we don't know if he has like secret circle members.
That's true. Again,
that are, like underground.
Yeah, I forgot that the circle was huge. I keep forgetting that.
It's huge. It's going to be big.
It's going to be huge.
It's going to be the biggest circle you've ever seen. It's going to be the greatest. Other circles are going to be envious of the circle. There's going to be exactly 360 degrees in the circle.
He wouldn't know how much the circle is.
Well, this joke is unrealistic.
All the rest of the circles are 360. He's going a full 400.
That's way better.
Oh my gosh. That was great. Eminem's back.
It's cold in my house.
Slim Shady over
I'm
here.
Bunny. What, rabbit?
Did you
not Bunny?
Did you just eat mom's spaghetti?
I wish, dude. I want my mom to make me breakfast so freaking bad.
Oh yeah, I want someone to make me breakfast too. I miss going out to breakfast.
Me too.
Yep.
That's my favorite meal to go out to.
Me too. Faux show. Okay, well, we start off with Jace, Isabel, and Alec in an elevator. And Jace and Alec are arguing about what they called a run-in. And they had just had with, again, this is going to be hard to pronounce, a Dragon-a-day? I'm assuming?
That's as good as I would have.
Yeah, Dragon-a-day demon. So apparently...
A dragon a day.
The day is dragon.
Yep.
A dragon a day keeps the doctor away.
It's Wednesday. The day is dragon. Yeah, well, and that's kind of what they're arguing about, because either Jace knew about something. So basically, Jace had told Alec that they were, I was going to say discontinued. extinct. And then they kind of bicker back and forth, and he's like, they were almost extinct. No biggie.
Mostly extinct. Yeah.
Not extinct enough for Alec.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. This is why I love Alec so much, because he's the only one that's like realistic. He's like, what the fuck? That's that.
Sounds like me. I need all of the facts. Literal facts. So when they get home, they're kind of talking about that if Maris was there, she would kill them because they're tracking mud in and stuff. And then they kind of look up, and there she is standing in the doorway. And she just sounds like an evil villain lady that's super skinny legs on a cartoon. And her waist is super tiny. And she's just like crossing her arms, just like giving a mean mug. And that's just what I envision. Anyway, so she's standing there and doesn't seem super stoked to see them, which I think is crazy. We meet Max and learn that he is Alec and Isabel's younger brother, but no Robert. He's still in Alicante. So again, this is the first time that since everything went down with Valentine, that she has seen her children. And from the sounds of the way Alec is healed, because he was able to go into this little battle with this dragon demon, that he's healed a bit. So it's been a while. It's taken her a while to get home. And I'm curious why Robert stayed. Do you think it's because Valentine's like starting some shit? I have a lot of questions. Answer them now. Tell me everything. I don't need to read the book.
Okay, so we did know last book that they were going to be home in 4 days. And this was right around the time of the Abaddon attack. And then the Abaddon attack happened the same day that the werewolves, converged on Renwick's Island. That was all in the same day.
Okay.
So, because that happened earlier.
Yeah.
And then by that evening, they were already on their way to Renwick.
Yeah.
That's
true, because they just got back. Yeah. They just got back and then, okay.
So, so I think it's been a couple of days, but I mean,
I guess,
magic, right?
I guess I just got the feeling
Magnus
it was like
the one that healed him.
Oh, that's right. Okay. He didn't have to heal normally like we would.
Right. I mean, and I can't remember how long this was, but I don't think it was very long.
Okay.
Because the epilogue was what? A couple of days after?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
we're terrible at this.
It's also, it's also interesting. Like, you would think Robert would be, I was going to say FaceTiming with them, but I guess it was 2006. I don't know. I'd be worried about my kids.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe there's a different, not that the shadow hunters don't love their kids, but I think maybe it's a different.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
The culture's different.
Yeah. And they're all alive, and so I guess you're right. That's a good point.
At least they're not Spartans leaving their babies out to die.
Aww.
Right.
Well, on that note, I'll move on.
But yeah, no, you're right. Maris comes across as like super cold.
Yes.
In this first,
Yeah. So yeah, she's clearly irritated that they're getting into more shit after all the Abaddon stuff, and Alec was injured, and I don't know. She just doesn't seem super stoked to see her kids, and it makes me sad. So Max comes out and is really excited to see Jace. He clearly looks up to the best shadow hunter of his age. And Maris is like, no, dude, we're not liking Jace at the moment. Go away. And she tells Isabel and Alec to take Max to his room, and then tells Jace to go clean himself up and meet her in the library. Alec can see what's going on and tries to defend Jace. He tells her that what happened wasn't his fault, and if Jace is being punished, they should all be punished equally because they all did the same things. And Maris disagrees. Yeah, because she was there. So
I know.
So far, I'm really sad for Jace and, frankly, Isabel and Alec, too. They've been through so much without any parental guidance, especially without Hodge being there, because I assume they're used to their parents being gone, but Hodge is usually there to guide them. And I know that they're like 16, 17, 18 years old, whatever, but they need I guess you're right, though. Like, Shadowhunter culture is different, so it's just, I don't know. As a mother, it's hard for me to imagine being away from my kids for that long, what it sounds like for that long. Right. And then them going through stuff, so.
The epilogue is 3 days after Valentine left.
All right. That's what I thought.
Okay.
Which means Maris must have taken longer to get home than they originally had said. Because originally they said she was going to be 3 days for her to get home, but the epilogue is 3 days later.
Uh-huh.
I thought it was 4.
Okay. 4, 3.
It does seem weird that they're already going out and getting into more demon
this is
stuff.
what I was thinking. I think City of Ashes starts the day after the epilogue.
Yeah.
Is what I'm...
So that would be 4 days then.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense because portals.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and just the way I have some of it in my section of kind of the dynamics of things. It just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even a commercial flight from Germany or France or whatever, you know, like if they just hopped over to the next country to New York, you can do that in a day.
Yeah. I mean, Jace can see Alicante from his bedroom in that little piece.
Right.
Of mirror. So
I just don't know if it's super important to her, honestly. Like,
it's crazy.
Yeah, they have more important.
Kids are almost, I think in there, like they're almost 18. They're almost adults.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Maybe she wanted to feel important in Alicante.
Well, and I'm sure for us, it's like we dug into this, you know, for months, basically. Too. Me personally, obviously. And for her, it probably is just, oh my gosh, they got into it with this greater demon and then this Valentine stuff happened. But all this Clary stuff and everything really didn't have to do with Isabel and Alec. So I guess not much actually happened to her kids. So
Right. And as long as they're alive, that's the best that they can hope for. Like they're constantly in danger anyway. So I guess it's not that big of a deal because they've trained their children their whole lives in order to do this because that's their job.
Yeah. And Isabel and Alec weren't even at the werewolf thing with Valentine. So yeah, you're right. Well, thank you. I feel better now for them because I was very
She's
sad.
still a bitch.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Yeah. Definitely still cold.
Okay, good. So next we go to Clary's point of view, which I love. I'm sure this won't continue unless the two of them don't really cross paths throughout the book at any point, which would suck. But because we need to know the drama between the two, Jace and Clary. I'm ready.
Right.
I'm ready to see the awkwardness. I really want to know the awkward drama. Tell me everything. So Clary's at Simon's house watching anime and munching on some chips. Typical teenage stuff. Cute. Everything is back to normal. Except her mom is in a coma. Okay? Stop it. I guess she gets to have a little relief, but it's still just acting like everything's cool.
Right.
Yeah. She starts to think about when she took Jace to see Jocelyn. She had hoped that his voice would bring her back, but sadly it did not. And I just super sad for Jace. He just stood there standing, unable to speak, and Clary lost it. She yelled at him and they got into it. And he took off. It's very sad.
This is, okay. It's a very depressing start to this book.
Yeah. I guess it kind of has to be a little bit because that's where it ended, sort of.
Well, yeah, and they're dealing with, like, the consequences of everything that happened in the previous book. But this is, like, it's almost like we're going back to ground zero with Clary's immaturity. It's like, what do you fucking expect? This guy has thought his entire life that his mom, like, was dead.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, his world gets turned upside down. And he's expected to just be like, oh, this is your mom. Come grieve her as, you know, oh, you do have a mom. She is alive, but she's in a coma and you can't see her. Like, how many... like, he's already emotionally unstable as it fucking is. Yeah. What else do you expect him... like, this stress and trauma being put on him. Like, how do you expect him to act, you little brat?
Yeah, it seems like she just expects him to still be the strong one and know what to do.
Right. And not to mention, he's got all these feelings that he's, like, trying to, like, figure out.
And stop having.
Right. And she's like, face the fact that you're my brother. Come on, call her mom. Like,
Mommy dearest.
I was going to say that.
And he's like, I'd rather not.
Yeah.
Because I still want to bone you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I know, yeah, exactly. So I know, I just feel bad for him. I know he's really tough. But he has nobody right now, really. He's kind of alone. Isabel and Alec are clearly there for him, but if their parents won't let them see him for some reason, or, you know, whatever would happen, he would literally be alone. So it's like,
right.
I don't know. It's super sad. So anyway, back to when Jace was at the hospital, Luke said something hilarious after Clary and Jace got into that little spat at the hospital. Although I don't think it was meant to be funny. I don't know. He says, "That's the first time I've seen you act like brother and sister."
Awkward.
And Clary, so I'm going to read the little thing here. So Clary said nothing in response. There was no point in telling him how badly she wanted Jace not to be her brother. You couldn't rip out your own DNA, no matter how much you wished you could, no matter how much you wished it would make you happy. No matter how much it would make you happy. Ugh. So she clearly still has feelings for him, which makes sense. You can't just shut that shit off, but gosh.
Right.
Awkward.
I mean, she spent a whole week falling in love with him. You can't just flip a switch.
God, again. It was only a week. You're right.
They do have shared trauma, though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I get it.
It's crazy. Well, and it doesn't seem like she's really ever liked anyone before, from the sounds of her. So I think it was a big moment for her.
No, he's the
crush
first
and stuff.
hubba hubba.
Yeah.
She was like a wooga with the hard eyes.
Yeah. His rippling muscles that we were just talking about.
Opening a soda can.
Yes. So Clary tries to tell herself that she's at least comfortable staying at Simon's house. She felt at home. And I just have to point out, one of the posters on his bedroom wall is Rock Solid Panda. Wasn't that one of the names he was thinking of for his own band?
I thought so. Because
Yeah.
I remember screaming, Rock Solid Panda!
Yeah.
Like, I remember doing that.
Maybe she made a band poster for him.
Maybe. Oh, yeah, because she's an artist.
Mm-hmm.
I doubt it. It's been 4 days.
Or it might be a poster for, like, a gig they played. When that
Maybe
was
they
their name.
decided that is their name or was or something. Yeah. Interesting.
It's in constant flux.
Okay. So Simon changes the channel to something random and finds that it's the old black and white Dracula movie on TV. Clary starts joking about the production until she notices Simon looking a little sick and he leaves the room. She didn't realize that she had been thinking about herself so damn much. Typical Clary, that she hadn't noticed Simon didn't seem super happy either. Once again, she's not thinking about Simon. She's using him for his
She's not thinking
house.
about anybody.
Yeah.
Why are you flipping us off?
I was scratching my eye. I'm sorry. It just would fit underneath there. Yeah, she's not nice.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine. I think that I'm pretty empathetic, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine being that self-absorbed.
I know.
Right.
I'm constantly concerned about what other people are feeling and thinking.
Yeah.
It is weird. And I don't know, like, where is it coming from? You know, she's very alone, so you'd think that it's not like, I have so many friends, I don't really care what he thinks, sort of thing. He is your only friend, and you give no shits.
I think she has only child syndrome.
Okay.
I think that's the thing, is all the attention has always been on her. It's always been about what she wants to do, you know, on her own, in her own pace, at her own time. You know, she doesn't really think about having somebody else there that you have to, like, consider their feelings. I mean, it was just her and her mom.
Yeah, that's true.
So
I'm imagining her mom also. I can't imagine what I would do if I lost one of my children. Mm-hmm. But I'm assuming she's very much over compensating.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
protective and spoiling her.
Doting, yeah. Clary.
Yeah, definitely. Sad.
It's very sad. We ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I just didn't want to cut anybody off. That's all. Thinking about you.
Thank you.
So considerate.
Yeah. You
You're
guys.
the opposite of Clary. You're a Simon.
So we get the pleasure of being back in Jace's narrative again. And he's reflecting on the shit show of a week he's been having and getting ready to meet Maris in the library. He's kind of doing this broody, angsty teen crying in the mirror thing, whatever.
He's
Been
checking
there.
out his abs.
I've been there. Not checking out my abs. Has never happened. So we get this kind of bittersweet moment where he's reflecting on this sweet tea drink that Hodge used to make out of night blooming flowers. And it sounds like maybe to me it was what they gave to Clary when she woke up from her coma. Because it helps basically kill your hunger pangs and kind of get you whatever. So he's been trying really hard to recreate it, but he hasn't had any luck yet. Kind of like my journey to find the perfect tasting coffee at home.
It's easy.
Yep.
Hazelnut coffee creamer and Folgers. It's a perfect at-home coffee.
No.
Yeah.
Tons of Splenda, splash of cream. Starbucks coffee.
I've gotten the Starbucks breakfast blend, Snickers creamer, and 2 spoons of sugar.
Sugar and creamer?
Well,
isn't the creamer sweet enough?
Listen.
No.
The sugar, to me, really cuts the acidity, so it makes my stomach less upset.
Okay.
And no, it's not sweet enough with just the creamer.
That's crazy.
I would rather drink black coffee with sugar, like with Splenda, than coffee with just creamer.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
It's not,
I don't like Splenda in my coffee because it tastes funny.
Oh, I love it. Love me some Splenda. I get it at Costco.
I mean, I'll drink black coffee with sugar if that's all there is, but I prefer creamer.
Yeah, sugar's not sweet enough for me.
Once I've been working at home, I can't go get coffee in the morning, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Sorry. Sidebar. Okay. So Jace is obviously nervous and kind of working himself up and down at the same time, fondly awaiting Maris's comments on her distaste of how long his hair has gotten. And how the Lightwoods in general have always treated them as their son since his father faked his own death.
Could you imagine the anxiety he is feeling right now? This is the only family that's ever truly loved him, because when he came to them, he came from an abusive home that he thought was normal, and now he got to see that these people, like, this is what love is and all of that, and now he's like, what are they gonna do? Oh, yeah. I would be so fucking stressed out.
I honestly feel like he's probably thinking, did these people ever love me?
Or is it they're going to take it all back?
Yeah.
Now that I'm this evil dude's son.
Yeah, which Robin's going to get there. I'm sorry, but that's how I would be thinking. What I would be
I think he's trying to just be like, oh, haha, cut your hair, hippie, da-da-da-da-da. And you think there's a part of him that wants to maybe think that it could be a positive meeting with, you know, like she's wanting to praise him for what a good job he did and for not going with Valentine and for blah blah blah. But then in the back of his mind he's like, well, her demeanor, her this, her, you know, it's really hard.
Yeah.
So Jace has a Clary moment and wonders if anything that has ever happened in his life has ever been true. He thought he was an orphan. Wrong. He thought he was an only child. Wrong. Because there's Clary. And Jace takes a last look at his bit of portal in the mirror shard. And I don't know why I wrote that in there.
Read it. Do it.
I keep wanting to say meat. And I don't know why, but there you go, portal meat. And piece of meat. I don't know.
Hunk of portal.
Hunk of portal. A portal house.
Oh, that's bad.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. I didn't reread this, so I couldn't take out all the weird shit.
No, me neither. Mine, I mean.
So he looks at his porterhouse and heads off to meet his doom in the library. And Jace is super confused and worried on his way down, as we've discussed, because Maris has been very obvious that something is eating away at her when they met in the hallway. And he enters, and Maris is sitting in Hodge's chair by the fireside, and she gets startled by Jace because he comes in like a cat. And she just starts right into him. Jace starts right in on her. Good. Working Maris. Willing her to remember this old French lullaby that she used to sing to Alec and Isabel when they were younger and scared.
Do you think he starts there because he wants to start off like making her chill a little bit? Because he's obvious she's upset?
I think he's trying to remind her that like he was just a little boy.
Yeah. Like, remember when you didn't love me as much as you loved them?
Right.
You
Maybe
remember.
I can guilt you into keeping me.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. So throughout my little section, I have a couple chapter reads just because, I don't know, I thought it was important. So bear with me. So she says, I don't know why you would remember something like that. She looked at him as if he'd accused her of something. You never sang to me. There was a barely perceptible pause. Then, oh, she said, you were never afraid of the dark. What kind of 10-year-old is never afraid of the dark? Okay, first, wow, right in the feelers. Mm-hmm. Second, let's break this down. In Jace's point of view, Maris is literally the only mother he's ever known. Mm-hmm. And in Maris's point of view, Valentine is manipulating and Jace is a product of his father, so she's not going to be swayed and lulled by his BS.
I don't know. Being Maris, I can't imagine. And maybe she's just colder. Obviously, she's colder than we are. She just does not have that motherly senses that we do. But I cannot even imagine how sad I would feel knowing that he heard me singing to my kids and I never came to do that for him. I would just be so sad.
Okay. So my point of view, I'm trying to put myself in Maris's shoes. So she was manipulated by Valentine. She was brought into the inner circle and he made her feel special and she trusted him with everything. And then she realized, that it was all a lie, basically, right? And so she's looking at this boy who wormed his way into her heart and wondering if it was all fake too. Like, I'm thinking from her point of view, she's being cautious because she's like, well, what if this was the whole plan all along?
Yeah, she's like, been there, done that.
Right. What if you because you are charismatic and you made me love you. And what if this is just the same thing and you're just waiting to stab me in the back or use me for something? So I could understand why she would want to be protective. But yeah, that whole line about like, you were never afraid of the dark. Yeah, because he put on a front. But like, she shouldn't have trusted that. Like, he's still a little boy.
Yep. He watched his father die right in front of him and you don't think you should treat him with kid gloves, literally.
Right?
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Okay, it is sad.
It's very sad. Yeah.
I just can't imagine. I feel like obviously we know more because we're in people's heads and we were there through the whole thing. And I mean, Chris and I know. Mm-hmm. But even as a first-time reader, like maybe Cassandra Clare is trying to deviate and twist and make it seem one way. We don't know what her style and her arc's going to be. Or I guess Jace's arc, not her arc. But at this point, what we know in the book that we've read so far is Jace is genuine. Mm-hmm. And it just, like, I can't imagine this being your only maternal figure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then having, so he's put her on this pedestal, whether she knows it or not.
Right.
And she's just, like, looking at him with so much disdain. It's got to be horrifying.
Mm-hmm. And suspicion. Like, could you imagine one of your parents who you love looking at you like you might be dangerous to them? Like they can't trust you? Like, oh, what a knife to the heart.
Yeah. It really hurts my feelers. For
yes.
sure.
That
just
was
want to give him
a
hug.
So Maris tells him to, quote, sit down, Jonathan. And he purposely slowly walks over to sit down to annoy her and asks her not to call him that. And she just, like, cuts right into him, interrogating him about how long he's known about Valentine. And this bitch very bluntly tells him, no, I don't believe you. Piss on you. Blah, blah, blah. And obviously he's super offended, as anyone would be, and is devastated that she doesn't believe him, who for all in her point of view is her son. Like, he's thinking, like, I'm your son.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So she can't wrap her head around how Jace couldn't have known that V-Tang wasn't actually Michael Wayland. And she's sick to think that Valentine basically planned out a cold-blooded murder in order to pillage someone else's entire life. She's basically in word vomit mode, telling Jace he never did look like Michael, but some kids don't. And now that her eyes are open, she can see Valentine in all his heinous glory staring back at her. So again,
I hate Maris so much in this scene. There's like, I understand being hurt and being scared, and I mean, she's also got to be thinking about, she's already on thin ice with the Clave. Like, that, her betrayal doesn't just go away after years of service. It's always a stain on her. And so now she's been raising Valentine's child, and now it puts not only her neck, but her entire family's neck on the chopping block. Because as we know, the Clave is not fucking forgiving. So I'm sure she's scared about what this means, and she's obviously not handling it appropriately. She's clearly trying to take it out on Jace. Mm-hmm. But, like, I just hate her in this moment. She just pisses me off.
It's almost like, it sounds like a conversation that her and Robert would have together.
That's what I was thinking.
Right.
That she would have already unloaded all of this on him.
And then they would have come to a decision together and decided how they were going to talk to him or what they were going to do. But it seems like she's just like, basically, I don't know if you've ever been there, but been heated and everything, just in this and this and this and this and this. And,
yep.
She was thinking about it the whole way home. And so she just has all these bullet points.
Right. Mm-hmm. Instead of you screaming in the car on the way home.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So then when you get home, it's all out.
She probably took one of those Silent Brothers carriages all the way home. It took her fucking 4 days.
Right.
To fly over the Atlantic.
Okay. So she says to him, I says, the way you're looking at me, that defiance, you don't care what I say, do you? But he did care. All he was good at was making sure that she couldn't see it. Would it make a difference if I did? She set the glasses down on the table beside her. It was empty. And you answer questions with questions to throw me off, just like Valentine always did. Maybe I should have known. So I put a little thing in here, which I think we kind of talked about it. But what do you think is going through her head right now? She is scared, embarrassed that she didn't know, or is she facing an inquiry at work?
Okay, nerd. I just want to know why he doesn't want to let her know that he cares. Why is he afraid of looking weak or something? Because he obviously deeply cares for the Lightwoods.
I think it's his way of protecting himself from getting hurt, because if she knows she cares, then she knows she has the power to hurt him. And so he was only with his dad until he was 10, but the lessons that his father taught him were quite literally beaten into him. Mm-hmm. And when a child, that birth to 10 range is where they really solidify a lot of their habits. And so if you go through trauma during that age, that's going to stay with you. And it might not be something that you consciously do or even know why you feel the need to do it. But like that whole protecting and not showing his emotions, I think that's from his time with Valentine, and just he couldn't, because if he showed emotion, then that was seen as weakness, and then it results in hurt.
Yeah. And she has a tool to use against him, sort of thing.
Why are you Napoleon Dynamiting?
Because the Falcon story.
Oh, the Falcon story.
Yeah, to love is to, what did he say?
To love is to destroy, I think.
To be destroyed.
Yeah. Something like that. So, I mean, I think it's just his way, because he can't be vulnerable. He's incapable. He doesn't have the emotional maturity.
Yeah.
He's got the emotional maturity of a teaspoon.
Sorry, I kind of repeated our topic, but get over it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, though. I think she's a little embarrassed, so she didn't realize it. And I think Kristen had a good point that the Clave knowing that she's raising Valentine's child might be not only embarrassing, but scary. Mm-hmm. Because if she is questioning Jace, I'm sure people are questioning her.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So.
And she knows Jace and they don't.
Right.
Right. She has his charisma and all that other stuff to kind of, yeah. So Jace tells her that he's the same kid from 7 years ago. And if she never saw beating tendencies, then why would she now? But she just keeps plowing forward, not even acknowledging his responses at this point. And wondering how, when describing Michael Wayland, Jace could have been thinking in any way that they were talking about Valentine, his father. And Jace is like, well, to be fair, you were never really specific. Like, you could have been talking about Joe Schmo. And she wants to know about pictures. You had to know that it wasn't the same guy. And he's like, dude, you fuckers destroyed everything in the uprising, you know, because you were embarrassed about joining a race cleansing cult.
That's the tea.
Thank you for the reminder of that, though, basically, because as I was reading it, I was like, yeah. Didn't they have any pictures at the Institute or anything of Robert and Michael together? But no, of course they didn't.
And that's why Hodge told Clary. Yeah, Hodge told Clary not to show Jace the picture that he gave her when she was snooping.
Oh, right, because that is a good point, because he knew it. I mean, I knew that, but now I'm putting it together. He must have known Valentine's plan when he gave her the picture.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm surprised. Why did he give it to her then?
Yeah.
It seems very like...
I think because if he would have said no, it would have raised more questions.
That's fair.
Because she asked for it, and he was like, okay, but don't show Jace.
Special to me. So Jace is playing like chess, checkers, whatever, and he counters every accusation with a very clear and sensible response, which is very like good on him.
Yeah, he's coming up with very good points.
Well, and he's in a very stressful situation, obviously. Emotional, like his invested. Anyway.
It's sort of that
Rambling.
situation where I would later be like, I should have said that, like when I'm in the shower the next day.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he's basically penning on urging Maris to just believe Jace for the sake of the fact that he's Jace. And ultimately, she can't do that because her hypocritical ass says that she can't afford to trust anyone whose influence Valentine has touched.
Okay, so I think the reason I'm upset with Maris because of, you know, the way she's asking and the way she's kind of, I mean, she's questioning everything about this boy that she's raised. And that's very frustrating, but I can understand where her point of view comes from. Like I can understand what her fears are and kind of like that. The thing that is unforgivable to me, and it just makes me want to Hulk out and just freak out, is when adults refuse to even listen to the teenagers or the children or whatever. Like they just bulldoze them and don't let them have a voice. That is something that just makes me crazy. And I think that's why Maris I want to just chop her head off. I don't know. I don't like her. We're in a fight.
So for me, I'm thinking, honestly, it's been so long since I've read this book. So but as of right now, Jace is 17. He's almost 18. He's almost an adult. And it seems like she could have got all this crazy ass spiraling anger shit out with Robert and sat down and said, Jace, I know that we've taken you in. You've been here for the last, since you were 10, 7 years. You're like a son to me. But you being here could potentially be bad for Max. And until we figure out what's going on with Valentine and he's caught, I can't risk it.
Yep.
Right.
And he would have said, okay, I understand.
Because he clearly cares about
having
Max
a
as well.
conversation.
Yeah. And I think he totally would have got it and understood where she was coming from and her point of view instead of her sitting there attacking him.
Yep.
Like, it's Adriana is learning how to deal with problems saying I instead of you. And she is in 3rd grade. Like, come on, Maris.
Yep.
Learn how to talk.
But she has a dysfunctional relationship with her husband who it didn't even come back to deal with this shit and just sent her.
Well, it's like, obviously she doesn't have a bestie that she can kind of like.
I was just going to say that because I not only would have gone over this with Andy, I would have gone over it with you guys also. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I texted you guys on Friday and I was like, I need to fucking vent because I'm losing my shit.
It's hard, man. Being a member of society. I was going to say a parent, but it's not even that. Being a productive member of society is freaking hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do that alone and not to feel like you have an outlet or a connection with somebody. It doesn't even matter who it is, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like Maris is very lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously we know a little bit more. But
right.
So I think one of the flaws, again, is not... I can't imagine she's talked this out with somebody. The only person she's had this conversation with is in her own mind.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then now, right at this moment with Jace. And if she could have just treated Jace like an adult and acted like an adult herself, a lot of hurt could have been avoided. Because I really think that he would have left willingly and understood.
Yeah, if she would have treated him with respect. But she didn't even respect him enough to listen to what he had to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
GTFO Maris.
Yeah, it's almost like she went to Robert and was like, I'll handle this. You stay here.
Exactly.
I got this shit. And she just took off. But she didn't. She was there for days still, I imagine. Unless she took a slow boat.
Right.
Broje's like, we ride at midnight.
I'll send a carriage for
I'll
you.
be there in 3 days to pick you up.
So their little spat ends with her saying, there were only ever two kinds of people in the world for Valentine, she said. Those who were for the circle and those who were against it. The latter were enemies, and the former were weapons in his arsenal. I saw him turn each of his friends, even his own wife, into a weapon for the cause. And you want me to believe he wouldn't have done the same thing with his own son? She shook her head. I knew him better than that. For the first time, Maris looked at him with more sadness than anger. You are an arrow shot directly into the heart of the clave, Jace. You are Valentine's arrow, whether you know it or not. Insane. And we pick back up at Simon's, where Clary's searching for him, and they wind up in the kitchen. And he's bent over the sink, splashing water on his face. And so she starts rubbing his back, the buddy pat again. And she noticed that his spine is extra nubby. Just all kinds of weird, but I get it. And she's like, nubby spine. I wonder if Simon's lost weight. And she asked him.
He's already skinny.
Right. So she asked him, like, sup, dog, you cool? And he's like, yeah, it's fine. But Clary, who's now finally unplugging from her own doom and gloom, keeps poking. And she's asking, basically, were you triggered by the movie?
And he was like, #triggered.
Okay, really quick before you move on. Does splashing water on your face actually help you calm down? I've seen it in movies.
It can.
I can't. That just would give me more anxiety, I think.
Me too.
Well, it depends on like how you're upset. Like if you're upset where like to where your face gets red, because sometimes like if I'm starting to have like an anxiety attack come on, I'll get really flushed and like I'll feel like hot and sweaty and like kind of clammy. So like splashing water on my face or something kind of helps like bring you back down and it helps ground you a little bit,
Okay.
cool you off.
I think I'd rather take a wet rag and put it over my eyes.
Like a warm. Yeah.
I don't want my hair to get wet because I don't like wet clothes. I don't like wet hair. I just, laying down helps me. Mm-hmm. Focusing. Because I start, my throat feels like it's closing. Mm-hmm. That does instantly, and I can't breathe.
Yeah, my
chest, my lungs get tight, and then I'm like trying to like take in a deep breath because I feel like my lungs don't inflate all the way.
Hey guys,
well, and then,
we're a mess.
Are you okay? Are you okay? Stop talking to me.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, you're not helping.
I've said I need
Trust me,
space.
in my head, I'm like planning to have a stroke because like I know it's definitely coming. Like in my head, I'm like, oh, it's gonna happen. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, there's gonna be a blood clot in my leg, and it's gonna go to my lungs, and I'm gonna die. Like,
cancer's caught up with me.
Oh shoot.
Yes, the cancer that you didn't know you had after you've gone to the doctors however many times.
Yep.
But they definitely missed it. You're one of those cases, and they're gonna talk about you on the news.
It's true.
That shit scares me.
And now our listeners know what it feels like to be inside the head of somebody who has anxiety.
Sorry.
Sorta. Sort of. That's just the beginning.
Right.
It's the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly.
We're a pair, aren't we? I guess we're not a pair. We're a trio.
We're a tripod.
Yeah, we're a thruple.
Thruple. All those
way
things.
better. Tripod. Okay, anyway. Simone asks Clary if she, do you not remember the night at Hotel du Mort? And she says she can, but it's a blur and focused on a time when Jace wasn't her brother, basically. But Jace was whispering and standing close to me. And she kind of leaves out that latter part in replying to Simon. And she's just like, no, it's blur. And he wants to know, do I seem different? Does he seem different? And she's thinking about it. And she's like, well, apart from an extra welcome touch of confidence that comes with slaying a greater demon, Simon seemed like, Simon. Because she's too mixed up in her own shit to even care about him. Mm-hmm. But now that she's kind of, I said analyzing, but basically just looking up.
Just noticing
that he's fucking there.
Being aware of life.
Right. She's notices a bit of wariness and about him, and she's wondered if it's just the mark of knowing her own mortality.
I couldn't imagine. Obviously, I understand how the whole hotel.
Welcome to the Hotel du Mort.
Yes, I can understand why the Hotel du Mort is kind of like a blur for her, because so much happened in such a short amount of time that she's probably just I haven't even my brain has not had time to calm down enough to chunk everything out and process each scenario. But I hate the fact that she's just watching anime with Simon and just chilling out, and they haven't talked about how he's doing with all this, because she's at least a Shadowhunter. She at least has that little bit to fall back on. This is just her new normal. He's still a mundane. He's talk about your feelings, people. Why aren't teenagers talking about their feelings? I feel like nowadays we talk so much more about mental health and stuff like that. I listen to the conversations that my daughter has with her friends, and they're so much healthier than the conversations that I had with my friends. You didn't talk about stuff like that when you were a teenager, your feelings and, stress and anxiety and all this stuff. But they literally have classes in middle school now to teach you about dealing with stress and
wow, that's cool.
Situations like that, and how to talk to other people about it, and making sure that it's not a what's the word, it's not taboo to talk about. It's everyone should be open about it, and if you're having a problem, or talk to your friends, and the whole social thing, it's a big deal. And they send out even now when we're homeschooling or whatever, they have mental health classes basically that they can go on a Zoom call and talk about their stress levels and what they're feeling and stuff.
That's great.
I don't know. We've just come a long way. We've come a long way from when I was a kid.
Yeah. Which is good. I mean, it obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that her kind of whitewashing, if you will, oh, it's probably just, because Jace acts like that sometimes. Okay, I'm probably being super judgy. Okay. So in the book, it also said oh, he looks the same as Jace does sometimes. It's probably just a mark of knowing your own mortality. What's happening to him? Okay,
being tired and exhausted.
Uh-huh. Yeah, just knowing that oh my god, I could have died, basically.
Right.
But I feel and this, like I said, this could just be me being an overly rude person at this moment. It's if she whitewashes that, then they can still focus on her.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Because she doesn't need to get into it.
Yeah, well, and she wasn't in Hotel du Mort for very long, so maybe she thinks it wasn't a big deal, really, because she went through a bunch more stuff personally. But that was a big deal for Simon.
Well, and okay, I'm playing my own. I hate when people say devil's advocate. I just don't like.
I thought you were going to say fiddle, so playing my own fiddle.
they talked about it for a moment because she was asking him, like, basically, what do you remember happening when they were talking about Isabel and when they were in her room looking at the stars on the ceiling.
Oh, right.
Right.
Yeah.
So they did talk about it a little bit. And I think he downplayed it a lot. Mm-hmm. And kind of made it seem like it wasn't a big deal. It's just weird not to check back up or to notice that he's struggling with something.
Right.
Well, she's living there too. So, yeah, she's around him a lot.
Yeah.
It took Dracula to bring it out.
But yeah, you're right. Like, you're just going to take their first word immediately after the thing happened. And they were like, no, everything's fine. I don't really remember it. And you're just like not going to talk to them about it again.
Right.
You're right. Like, that's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I just, ugh.
We talk about the same chapter over and over again, let alone like a traumatizing experience in our lives.
Well, and there's no follow-up questions. No, because they were like, they had a good chunk of time, I think, where they were. Like,
it was like a whole day,
right?
Yeah.
She didn't eat, which was weird.
Soup's weird.
Yeah. Don't do that. But it seems like you didn't have any follow-ups after that, or like it's, even so, he's killed Abaddon. Mm-hmm. And it's not even like, so how does killing Abaddon compare to being in the Hotel de Mort or anything? Nothing.
Yeah. Like there should have been some blank, no conversation stuff where she could have been like, so, hey, how are you doing? Like, this is a lot of crap we just went through together.
And I can understand wanting to kick back and watch anime and just like not even decompress and zone out and not think about it. But it's been like, what, 4 days we've decided? Like Amanda's saying, in that time you'd think it would have come up.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll get off my soapbox now. So, he closes his eyes and, Clary doesn't have to guess anymore. He knows that she notices that he lost weight because of his like cheekbones and stuff. And, he bends down and kisses her. And Clary doesn't back away and allows it to get a little more PG-13, but not without comparing him to Jace.
Oh.
Stop. Drop. Shut him down.
Okay, it's the only thing she has to compare to.
Fair.
But that's on her mind while they're kissing.
And I know it hasn't been, like we were saying, it hasn't been that long.
Okay, but to be honest with you, I was super annoyed when this happened. She just told him she wasn't into it not that long ago. Like, I feel like he is really coming on too strong. He's pushing her too much. And to me, it's very, I don't know. I think he stepped over a line, which clearly he didn't because she seemed kind of into it. But when I read that, I was like, whoa, dude, she just told you she wasn't into you. Why are you trying again? Stop pushing this.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's like, oh, she's vulnerable now and he's not an option anymore. So I got to shoot my shot again because of course she would want to be with me if she can't have him.
Yeah.
Right now,
like if he's out of the picture. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Amanda.
It's
good
icky.
on you.
Well, all Clary's just kind of like, I feel like she doesn't have any agency when it comes to her love life. She just like lets it happen. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't make a choice for herself. She just kind of like, a boy wants to kiss her and she's just like, okay, I guess this is what we're doing.
Like, buckle up.
Right? Like she doesn't, it's like we don't know if she really wants any of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she didn't back away was how it was described. Yeah. So who knows
That's
if she's
not
into
consent.
it. I guess she did kind of lean more in or something, right? Or grabbed his head or something. I don't know, but I don't know. It is icky that she's comparing him to Jace. I agree. Ugh.
Back to the book, because I will stop.
Right.
The phone rings and startles them away. Thank God. Literally saved by the bell, Clary. And Isabel's on the other end of the line, super upset and asking Clary if she has seen Jace because he's missing.
Bum, bum, bum.
Fuck.
End chapter.
Okay, how long do you think he's been missing before she called?
A couple of hours.
Yeah,
probably.
what would concern you? Like, he has no friends. Where would he be?
Well, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
I think like she can't get a hold of him, and he just found out he's Valentine's son.
Yeah. Do you think that Maris kind of gave her the rundown of what she said?
Probably.
Or they were like outside listening with the glass.
Yeah, and then he just takes off right after his conversation with Maris, and then they can't get a hold of him, and he was just kidnapped by the evil overlord. So
yeah. That's a good
They're
point.
on edge.
Yeah. They have reason for concern.
Well, I wonder if they ask Maris what happened. She's like, none of your concern, child. Go to bed. And then
go to sleep. Oh.
That does sound like a bitch move that she'd make.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then they start calling because they
don't
check on him
listen
and
to
he's
their
not
mommy.
there. Yeah.
It's weird to think about calling people back in the day like that. Like she probably, because they called his house phone, right? Simon's house phone. It's just weird to think she probably had it written down somewhere, not in a cell phone and stuff. It's just, we lived through these times, but it's just weird to remember it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So, make sure that you've read chapter 2, The Hunter's Moon, for next week's episode.
So exciting.
Oh my God.
For behind the scenes content and the latest updates, check us out on Instagram at Downworlder Dish Podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye.